Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is Dagani Anton, and we're here on the GetRready podcast. Now, this episode is going to be one of those kind of episodes where I'm just kind of giving my thoughts and ideas and stuff like that, and things of that nature, and just kind of giving an overall good surrounding to all this stuff. Anyway, so let's get on with the show. So anyways, I've been trying to work on a few things and trying to go over a couple of ideas and stuff like that. And, I've always been trying to work towards making things be a little bit better when it comes to like the podcast. I'm trying to get more guests. I'm trying to get more people to come on, and I'm hoping more people do come on, because the better part about the podcast is if somebody wants to be promoted, wants to promote something and like have ideas that they want to give out, that's something I'd really hope would happen, that I could actually help somebody get their business going, or help them promote their stuff, or get anywhere they want, and help them get these things going up more. Because I think that's the point of all of us doing stuff, is helping each other, giving each other like a better idea, a better understanding of like what we're doing. It's so easy to hate on people. Like, it's so easy to actually just say to somebody that, this isn't any good, or I don't like this, or I don't like that, and they're trying to give off like, negative vibes. And who wants that? You know what I mean? Like, who wants to be part of something that's not going to be any good, where someone's not going to like the idea just because somebody else did it? I think it's better if we like try to help each other. If we try to give each other a head start and help each other on any kind of idea, whether it be, I'm going to try to start a business, I'm going to go back to school, you're trying to help your family, anything like that. I think it's better if we actually try to help each other and get each other further by just giving compliments or any kind of way we can. And that's what I think the podcast is for, mainly, is to help each other, to go out and do everything that we can for one another. And if you're wondering about if you can hear any kind of noise, it's just me. I'm driving. I want to put up a podcast. I want to put up something new. I'm just driving, getting off of work. Don't worry though, hands free. It's not a microphone. It's a microphone that clips to my shirt, so don't worry about it. So, anyways, let's go back to nutrition and health. Let's talk about the nutrition and health part of things that I still think people are missing out on, the things that people could do and help each other with. I mean, one of the things I always think about when it comes to nutrition and fitness is people should be adapting more to the ideas of when it comes to nutrition and health. Like, when it comes to eating better, it's never easy. Let's get that simple and straight right now. Ripping a Band-Aid off, grabbing the duct tape off of your hairy leg and ripping it. Let's just put it that way. It's never easy. It's never going to be easy. Eating right, or eating healthy, or eating smart, any way you want to put it, it's never like an easy thing to transfer over to, because you have to think about, if you grew up somewhere that is poverty stricken, you're used to eating bigger portions, you're used to eating, say, cheaper meals, and only in that way I'm talking about that your parents could only get something that was possibly like boxed macaroni and cheese. They would get like a cheap cut of meat. They would get like chicken, the box kind where you just like shake and bake and stuff like that. You'd get all these weird things, and it's not their fault. They were just trying to raise, say, 3, 4, 6 kids. They got to feed them all. So how can they do it? And they don't have a lot of money, so they have to go out of their way to actually, work their way around actually trying to get better food, and they want better quality, but they can't, because they're also working 8 hours a day, sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 12. Maybe there's only one parent, maybe there's not. But so that's just the start of something when you think about it, that somebody starts from such a small section of things where like they come from there. So when they kind of like get into all this nutrition stuff, it's hard for them to start because, for one thing, everything seems more daunting. Everything seems more like it's like harder to do things at because you don't know where to start. And now let's just take my background real quickly. I grew up on the res. I grew up in Oneida. My mom was raising 4 boys. You know, we ate. I'd say we had like macaroni and cheese. We had roast beef, potatoes, mashed potatoes. You know, like you'd have pancakes for breakfast. You do the bacon dinners. You know, you do all this stuff, and you don't really think about it when you're younger. Like you don't think about that kind of stuff at the moment, but when you get older and then if you get into the fields of nutrition and health and all that, then you think back to what you were eating before because your body gets used to you eating a certain way. Now, whether that's bigger portions, whether that's greasier meals, whether that's really like, you know, cheesy meals, stuff, your body gets used to it and craves that stuff. So it's going to be craving, especially sugars, especially refined, processed carbs, you know, all these really crappy foods that are all processed. That's why, like, when you think about all that stuff that you're eating before, it affects you now. It's almost like your genetics have been tampered with by crappy food. So when you have to think about that, you start thinking about all the different things that you have to do to change. And when you do change over to healthy foods, it gets a little hard. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to anybody. I think it's harder to do because I've always had an issue with trying to eat better, and sometimes you just have to force yourself to eat better. There was times where I was eating like 1.5 pounds of fish a day, and I didn't want to, but I had to. You know, I'm a kind of guy that doesn't like eating fish at all. Like I don't like eating fish at all. Not even too big of a fan on deep fried fish, you know, battered fish or nothing like that. But when it came to for a goal, something to hit, something I really wanted, that was standing in my way, was all that fish that I had to eat because it was high in protein and it was low in calories and I could eat a lot of it. And if you can find anything that's high in protein, for me anyways, when I find something that's high in protein and I can eat a lot of it, I will jump to it because that way I can stay full longer through the day. And I don't have to worry about me like getting hungry at some point during the day, so I have to like turn to something crappy. Like if I don't have healthy snacks to kind of curb my hunger, then I will eventually turn to something crappy. Like I will stop somewhere and get like something crappy at a fast food place or something like that. Because also it's cheap, I don't have to make it, I can get it quicker and it's out the door. Also too, I do bring a lot of water with me. So I do drink a lot of water to curb that hunger as well, because a lot of times when it comes to getting hungry, sometimes what they recommend is drinking like drinking some water. And I mean like a decent amount of water, because you could be dehydrated. Sometimes your hunger can also just be you being really thirsty, so you just drink a lot of water. And I've been doing that a lot lately. Like I've always been drinking a lot of water, and it curbs the hunger until I get to my next meal, and then I eat that again. I usually carry around with me 3 meals most of the time during the day. Anytime I leave my house, I usually have 3 meals with me on hand. And that's just basically to help me get through the day, so I won't be eating something else. I can stay on my plan. I have the calories counted, I have the protein counted, you know, the carbs, the fats, whatever. It's all counted for, and it's in my food bag that I take with me at all times. So like I said, I'm always prepared, I'm always ready, and I have the snacks with me. And usually I always have roasted chickpeas or roasted enema beans, like soybeans basically. I usually have some of those around with me. I will take with me almond butter. It's kind of expensive, but it's good to have, because I usually have a spoon, I'll have a teaspoon, and I'll just scoop a teaspoon and eat that. And that really curbs hunger for me. There's a lot of times too, I will bring overnight oats with me, and I will and what I mean by that is I get the oats ready the night before. So in the morning, if I have to leave early for work, all I have to do is put those oats in my bag with me, and I will eat those at a certain time. That way my breakfast is ready to go. I already have a scoop of protein, like chia seeds. I've already put in like coconut milk or almond milk or something with it. And that's also just sort of stirred up with some scoops of oats. It's all set, it's all ready to go. The oats absorb the milk and soften it. And so you don't really need to heat it as much as it's left in the fridge all night. and it absorbs the oats and like kind of puts it all together. So it's like a wet mixture, and it tastes really good. Like depending what kind of protein powder, if you use it, you can put in there. And if you don't use a protein powder, you can always put in like I've seen some people put in like a scoop of natural peanut butter, and then they'll put in like a couple of fresh strawberries with the oats and the milk, and sometimes a bit of cinnamon if not, and then that's almost like a PB and J overnight oats. You know, so there's like little things that you could try with when you do these ingredients, these smaller little ingredients that you think are like too big to do or too much to handle. You can always like really play around with it. There's a really good saying from a bodybuilder that says, if you were able to have 8 different kinds of chicken dishes, like you knew how to prepare chicken 8 different ways in a healthy manner, you'll never be bored of your food, because that's one of the things that a lot of people fail on when it comes to diets, is they tend to think that it's easier to get on like start meal prepping, but then they won't do anything with it. They will just boil the chicken, they will roast the chicken, they will bake the chicken, you know, they will do all these different kinds of methods for doing chicken, but they won't add seasonings, they won't add like salt and pepper, they won't add all these little things to change up the dishes. Because if you have, you know, like a chicken, if you prepare your chicken, like let's say just with some low sodium taco seasoning, and it's one big batch that's all got that one seasoning, and you use that for the whole week, guarantee you'll be sick of not only chicken, but you'll be sick of that seasoning by the end of it, and you won't want it anymore. It kind of ruins it for you. So what you want to do is be smart with it, and you want to prepare it in a more easier method. And like I said, you still want to prepare it in a method where it's easier to meal prep. Like if you were, let's say you were to like bake all your chickens. So, and now let's say you had a baking sheet that can hold about, let's just say 9 pieces of chicken. So there's 3 chickens, right? So for those 3 chickens, let's say they were all 6 ounces each. And now with those 6 ounces, let's say you seasoned one with that Mexican seasoning. You seasoned one with some Greek seasoning. And then the last one, let's say you want to do like a little bit of a barbecue seasoning on the last 3. And now you bake those off, they're all seasoned up. And now for the next, let's say 3 days, you had 3 chickens that are all seasoned differently. So with that Mexican one, you use rice. So you'd put some rice, put some beans, maybe a little guacamole, some tomatoes, and like how you would do a wrap with all the wrap, because the carbs are going to come from the rice, brown rice, white rice, jasmine rice, basmati rice, any kind of rice you want. It's coming from that. Now, let's say you wanted to do the chicken, the Greek one. Now, the Greek chicken, the ones that you seasoned with that, you make it like a salad, like a Greek salad, but you would add chicken. And maybe you want to cut back on the feta because it might be a little too fatty or whatever. You don't like feta, so you just have like grape tomatoes. You'd have the romaine lettuce or whatever kind you want to use. Chop it up, add some cucumbers, some red onion, and you put the chicken in there, and then there you go. You have another one, but now you have a salad, but it's a Greek chicken salad. And now the third dish is you have that barbecue seasoning, right? So that barbecue seasoning, I would honestly add a baked potato. So you put on like a baked potato with that chicken, and then you could also add some, now if you wanted to like maybe get some asparagus or some broccoli or green beans, whatever kind of vegetable you want, pick whatever you want. And then you add that to the dish, and there you go. Those are 3 separate dishes, and those 3 separate dishes are like one whole day. So you got the chicken, boom, for one meal. You got the second chicken dish, and you got the third chicken dish. Now, it doesn't have to be any way you want, but maybe in a sense, depending on what your goals are, you could add more carbs to one dish, or you could add less, so you could have half a baked potato. You know what I mean? Like, you just measure all this out and fix it. So, like, you have your 3 days set. And now a good thing to try maybe is you could also have breakfast. If you were going to do the overnight oats, the breakfast would be done differently. So that's another way you could honestly have your breakfast done, whether it's kind of like overnight oats, or you want to do like maybe some turkey bacon egg white cups, you can have these preset meals, so like they're all ready to go. But when I do those turkey egg white muffin, like little cups, I usually put a little bit of hot sauce in there when I'm done, and that way it all kind of fixes up, and it's a really nice dish. But other than that, you could do it any other kind of way. But sorry, now I know I kind of went off and started explaining a little bit of a nutrition, like ideas for like your meal preps and things like that. But like I said, this is just something you can go into. Now going back to what we're kind of originally talking about, and that was the whole kind of understanding your where your food comes from, and like getting it easier on your dishes when it comes to understanding more of how you can kind of change your eating habits to when you want to get better, like a better understanding on how you want to eat. I'd say one of the easiest things to do too, like a tip I guess you would say, is you want to slowly add healthy habits to your eating every day. Like now you don't just want to go cold turkey and immediately jump into something that you're not going to fully, commit to. Because if you commit to something like eating healthy every day, like you want to like change it completely because you want to lose weight, you want to get more energy, you want to feel better, you want to like be more active with your kids. You don't always want to just sit there. You want to really get into it. So like with those kind of ideas, you want to like change your eating habits. And now this can work, and this can work better in like a way that you just slowly incorporate things. So a great idea to start with is you want to add more legumes to like your food, or beans. Hope I'm saying that right. Message me if I'm saying that wrong. But like you want to add more. So an interesting thing I've actually recently discovered and started doing with myself is there's this thing called the half cup challenge. And now the half cup challenge is really just adding more beans and things to your dish, like to your dinners, your lunches, whatever, because you're going to get more fiber, you're going to get a little bit more carbs, you're going to get a little more like vitamins and nutrients from these different types of food, a little more protein even. So let's go back to that Greek salad for a second. Now, maybe you wanted to add some chickpeas to that salad. You add half a cup. Now, that's the half cup challenge, is you add half of a cup to these dishes, and then you're adding that extra level of, like I said, fiber, carbs, protein, because chickpeas are really all-in-one kind of thing. And I've already said it before, but in the Mexican one with our chicken, I already talked about the rice having beans in there. That's another half a cup black beans right in the rice, and mix it up, and there you go. That one's already done. But the two other kinds that you can actually add to these is so we have beans, we have chickpeas, there is lentils, and split peas. These are four different kinds of things you can add to your dish. Now, if you add cooked lentils to something, that's another one. You add half a cup. Now, these half cup challenges also too, mind you, if you're a calorie counter, they're going to add calories to these as well. So you really have to double check on the half cup challenge on where you're going to add it, how you're going to add it, and what you're going to do with it. No, excuse me. Now, this is just something that you really want to add on as well. It's just something really easy to kind of add on to your foods, even if like you're not into the meal prepping part yet, but you're just getting started. You could really just kind of get into them slowly. So adding these half a cups of, like chickpeas or split peas even, or anything like that, it's really going to be beneficial to your health, and I think really help you out in a lot too. So you don't have to worry about like, is this right, is this not right? Because like I said, yeah, your body needs more fiber, and we're not getting a lot of fiber anyways. So that's something like to really try with like the eating habits, is that if you want to get more healthy, you want to start slowly. You want to incorporate stuff more into your diet. So like you want to like add more stuff to it. Like you have to really pay attention too, because it's an old saying, but I think it's a really good one when they say you have to listen to your body when it comes to eating. Your body will actually give signals and actually give you like signs to pay attention to. So like if you were to eat like take me for example, like I can't really eat a lot of dairy. Like if I have like milk or a high amount of like cheese or anything like that, anything with dairy, I tend to kind of blow it up really hard. I get really gassy. You know, like things just don't end well for me. Like I really can't cooperate with that. Like my body really can't cope with it. So I back off on dairy completely as much as possible. The only times I really like add it to my meal plans is when I have like cottage cheese and stuff like that. But most times will try to get the lactose-free cottage cheese, so like I don't really get so kind of gassy and stuff like that. But anyways, so like that's kind of the stuff that you should be paying attention to, because like if it happens once and you can notice it, then you know not what to eat or eat less of. And that's something, like I said, just like take an example for myself. I don't have a lot of dairy for that reason, because my body won't cooperate with it well. I can't get into it well. Like I'm just like, nothing works right. Now, a lot of times when we think about eating healthy as well, a lot of people think of salads. Like they tend to think, oh, salads are healthy. They can be, but most people don't do it right when they do salads. And yes, there is a thing is not doing salads right. So you have to you should really be thinking about that. If somebody was to give you a salad and it had just romaine lettuce, cut up tomatoes, and cucumber, I'm just gonna let you think about that visually in your head. Think about that bowl of salad and think about those 3 items in there. And mind you, what I just said, 3 items. Is that a good salad? No, it's not. I'm just gonna save you the time now. It's not a good salad because it's only got 3 things in there. Like it's not filling. There's really nothing in there. Like, you know, cucumbers are very, very. Sometimes people can reference them to be like a very like there's not a lot to them calorie wise, and even like to fill you, because they're a high count of moisture in the cucumbers. So like it's just really, you're just basically eating water, if that's even something to say. And then tomatoes are the same thing. And then lettuce, there's no calories. They're not dense. There's nothing. It's just a really dense salad. Like, I mean, not dense. It's a really light salad, and there's just nothing to it. So a good idea to try is to let's think back to that bowl of salad. Let's think about that for a second. There's a bowl of salad. Now let's think about the bowl. Now let's swap out some stuff. Instead of using romaine lettuce, let's say spinach for now. So let's have a spinach base. Like the base of it, the bigger part of everything in there is going to be spinach. So let's just go with spinach. Now with that spinach, I'm going to think about, what do I want? Now let's think about a actual meal, let's think about a meal that we would do prep-wise. So if there was going to be like protein, carbs, and fats, that might be foreign to some people, but let's just think about those 3 things, and I'll get into them. Now there's a bowl of salad. Now here's, think about the bowl. Boop, pops in your head. Now let's visualize the spinach that gets dropped in there. And now let's just say we use 3 good handfuls, because cups and, I don't know, measuring is kind of weird. It's kind of hard with spinach. So let's just say handfuls. Like you grab 1 handful, dump it in. You grab another handful, another handful. So let's just say 3 handfuls of spinach are sitting in the bowl. Now spinach is considered what some people like to call superfoods, but that'll be for another episode to really dive on that and like the myth behind it and everything like that. So with that, let's talk about spinach. Now spinach is what some people would actually consider to be a muscle builder. So it's kind of like what Popeye was doing when he was eating spinach, but I think it's better to eat fresh than in a can. So now that bed of spinach is sitting there, now let's start with a protein. Now with spinach, I find that it's easy to do chicken. So right off the bat, you could do shredded chicken or roasted chicken, depending on what kind of seasonings. You can honestly do anything you want with it. But now if you don't want chicken, now let's say you're sick of chicken because you got chicken later in the day. So let's add boiled eggs. So boiled eggs are there. Now, boiled eggs are a great source of protein as well. They're versatile. They're very easy to add to a lot of things, and they're great. So let's just say boiled eggs then. So boiled eggs are sitting there. Now we got boiled eggs on our dish. And now that's the protein, okay? Now let's go on to carbs. What kind of carbs can we put in there? So we talked about the half cup challenge earlier, and some of those actually have a high number of carbs. So if you really wanted to, you could add even more protein by maybe doing chickpeas or cooked lentils even. Like you could do lentils, put them in there. Some people actually like to boil like sweet potatoes or white potatoes, and they'll add those in there. So it's like a cold potato. And another episode to maybe delve deep into later is the effects of how healthy and how much better a cold potato is for you, cooked cold potato, than it is for a hot potato. But we'll get into that to another episode as well. So with that cold potato, let's just say for now we'll use we got spinach, and we got protein. Now the protein is going to be the boiled eggs, okay? And now let's just say for good measure, let's just use sweet potatoes for a carb, okay? So we got sweet potatoes diced up and boiled, and then kind of just put on so they don't fall apart completely in the salad. So that's our carb. Now, just because we have, before we get to the fats, just because we have spinach at the bottom doesn't mean that's our vegetables. That's the base. That's what's making us a salad, is all that stuff. So now we need to add more vegetables, because here's a secret that a lot of people don't think about, but that is really good when it comes to vegetables, is you can add so much volume to something by adding vegetables, because they're so light in calories. They're so high in all these vitamins and nutrients that you need anyways. So to use vegetables to add to something for more volume and to feel more full is prime idea. Now, depending what you want to do with the salad, you could have broccoli. Like you can put up a cup of broccoli. You could put in I would say probably some mushrooms if you wanted to. So you have mushrooms, you have broccoli. Let's throw in some, let's say red onion. Let's throw some red onion in there. And you can, like I said, at this time you can pretty much go crazy. So you can add peppers in there. You could do a whole pepper. You could do a pepper and a half of if you wanted to. So you could really add all this extra stuff in there just to kind of go into making your salad. And now with that part, you could also get into a lot more vegetables. So because I named onions, broccoli, mushrooms, and peppers, you could add more if you want, but let's just go with that for now. So you got those extra vegetables in there. That's all the extra vitamins and nutrients. They're all in their raw forms. They're even better for you. So like now, if you can eat something raw in a vegetable state, it's better to eat it than cooked, because you're losing some of the nutrients, but not a lot. Now anyways, let's go on to the fats. So with fats, usually this is where people would add dressing. And I don't recommend any of these salad dressings that you buy in a store, because they're loaded with sugars, they're loaded with like a bunch of like crappy oils, because they're most likely using canola oil or sunflower oil or saffron oil. You know, one of these really, there's no nutrients to it. There's nothing you're going to get good out of it. So I suggest making your own vinaigrette the day for it. And like you can save it and have it for the next day. You don't need it the whole time. You can kind of save it for later. But what I'm just saying is, it's easier to make one of these and have it there just for a day, an extra two, and use it again on another salad. So when it comes to salad dressings, you can easily just like have a vinegar and oil, and that's it. That's a vinaigrette. You just got those two items. You could add a bit of salt and pepper, and then just mix it. And that's all it really is. So you could have it easy, but most people don't. Most people have it with like some kind of dressing they buy in a store, and it's loaded with all this sugar and stuff like that. And that's the issue. That's the problem we have with all these these products that claim to be like, they fool people in by, for one thing, they have like it's a green bottle, so they draw people in. They throw fancy words like organic, sugar-free, fat-free. They'll throw all these things on there to draw you in and having you fooled into thinking. But then there's all these little things in the back that they're not telling you that's in there. Like I said, like these cheap oils they'll use for their dressings. But anyways, so now when it comes to the dressing, so if you just want to use a simple vinaigrette, that's where you would put on your salad. And like you can add stuff to the dressing to make it more like friendly and like a more, if you want a little more flavor, you could add like a pureed berry to the vinegar, mix them up, and then add that oil. Then you have a simpler thing. So that's where it comes down to, and that's what makes it easier for people. But most people don't do that. Or you can be weird like me and put peanut butter, natural peanut butter, all over your salad. I mean, that's how I roll, and I don't think it's an issue. But I'm just that kind of guy who likes peanut butter on everything. And so that's exactly what goes to make a salad, to make it easier, to make it better. You can get very creative with making a salad. I've seen so many different kinds of salads, and it depends. Like I said, it's part of the passion how you want to work it into your daily life and making stuff like that. But like I said, it's just another part that we do to try to make our lives easier and a little more fun and healthy as well. Just having a salad more, but creating it your way, not buying a pre-made one, but just creating it your way can make it a lot easier. And it's just a lot better. So with that, people, I come to a part where I just want to say that I'm glad you're still listening. I hope you're here. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. And I know I'm talking about some of the stuff, and I know there's a lot of visual. I know there can be people who are visual learners. So when the time comes, I hope to have more videos coming out with instructional videos about how to prepare like a more, like a better salad. Like what's the idea, like, the eggs, the chicken, you can even put fish in your salad. Like there's all these different things you can do and make it creative so it's not so boring. But I get that, like I said, I want to make more videos of it be more visual on the YouTube channel. But there's been a lot of stuff coming up. I have a couple of catering that I've been working into. So, like there's more projects I'm trying to actually do. I'm trying to make more better videos and trying to like put up more quality videos for you guys and everything like that. So I do have more podcasts coming up. I do have more guests coming up. And I hope you guys, like I said, I hope you guys are really enjoying these podcasts as much as I really enjoy doing these. And I will be doing more of these one-on-one podcasts where it's just me kind of going over like the ideas of health and everything like that, and my journey and everything that I've been going through and how I still try for these days. And one of the best things I can say to anybody is don't feel bad that even if you are trying to change your life to be eating more healthy and you do eat something horrible, like something bad, don't feel bad about it. I used to feel like that a lot when I used to eat something, when I used to like be on a real strict diet and then I would crash and hit something and eat really crappy food. I used to feel really bad about it, but it's, you're just living life, It's not a bad thing that you do that. Just, you can't do it all the time. It's not good for your body to eat all the time because you don't want to develop diabetes. You don't want to develop cancer. You don't want to develop these things. And sometimes it's not about eating as well. Sometimes it's not just about eating. It's about being active. Your body needs to be constantly in a move. That's why it's better for us not to always be sitting down, laying down. Laying down should only be for a couple of things. And during the day for no reason, if you're just laying on a couch, it's not a good thing. You should be active all the time. There should be things you should be doing all the time. Getting your body out there and doing everything you can. And there's no point trying to come up with excuses to stop yourself from not doing these. If you're the kind of person that keeps coming up with excuses or something or someone to blame on why I can't do this, why I can't do that, or the classic saying, when I don't have time, that's not on anybody but you. There's no such thing as I don't have time. you always have to remember that it's always about you. Like, if you really want to lose weight, want to get healthy, that's about you. There's nobody holding you back. There's nobody in front of you. There's nobody behind you. There's no one on the sides. No one's grabbing your arms physically and telling you, you can't do this. You just have to always remember that it's about you in the end. You're the one who has to remember it's all about you. Like always, I've heard a lot of people say that they don't have time or they don't want to, but in the end, it's you just don't want to. It's easier to tell somebody, I think, to say, I just don't want to do it, as opposed to you just coming up with an excuse on saying, the other part. I used to do that all the time. I used to say to myself that I don't have time or anything like that, but then there's a time when I just immediately took over and found that I can do so many things in a day. I can do a lot in a day, actually. And you can still get your 7-8 hours of sleep, but you have to remember to always get your 7-8 hours of sleep, and then you can use your day for everything. Try not to, like, the idea of wasting your day is coming up, I think, with when you're on your phone too much. It's good to watch TV with your family and stuff like that, but don't let it overgo what you really need to do. If somebody wants to go back to school, they can go back to school, still maintain a social life, their family life. If you got kids, you can still hang out with your kids. If you want to hang out with friends, if you want to do all these other things, you can, and still do school. To me, sometimes I think there's too much time in the day. It's me who's wasting it by not taking advantage of the time that I have. So that's why I think it's important to really kind of schedule out and fix your day so you know that you can easily go about your time and also use it very well, but also go after your dreams, go after your aspirations. The best thing to say is somebody who's passionate will find a way. They will find a way to do it, and they will crush it, and they will have nothing but good things to say about anything they're doing, because that's how it works. If you want something, you will get it, but it takes hard work to get there. But sometimes it's not hard work, because some people who just love doing something in and out, that's perfectly fine as well. That was my final saying for the time, people. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and there will be more future podcasts to go about. I have special guests always coming up. People are coming in, coming out, and I contact people all the time and hoping they come on. And if you want to come on the podcast, then just remember, all you have to do is send an email to getready@gmail.com. Getready with 2 R's at gmail.com. Or if you want, send me a text at 226-998-7787, and I will either text you back or I will email you back with details on what you want to do, where you want to meet, everything like that. We can do everything, set everything up, and we'll just go and talk and go about what we want. Because I really would like to meet you, and I hope you would really like to meet me, and you'd like to be on the podcast. I'm always willing to talk to anybody, and my goal is to make this get to 100 episodes, and who knows when we'll get there, but I hope we can get there soon. Okay, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you had a fun time listening, and I hope you learned something from this too, as much as I would like to. And I hope you all had a good time. So until then, people, I hope you blah 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 blah. Don't know what I'm doing with that. It feels like I'm rambling on as usual, but I'll see you all next time. See you later.